Hi everyone, welcome to part 4 of my Disney Infinity Rogue One toy box level. And as you'll see here, we aren't in the Rebel Cruiser. No, we are actually in a Zeta class transporter. Because in this clip and the one that follows, we're actually going to focus on the ground battle. Still within the same toy box that we've been working over the last few clips. So you'll see here, we're in the actual transporter. So when we press this button, the shuttle doors will open. And we're going to go through the logic and show you how to put this in. But this basically is our starting point for the ground force. So we come out of the shuttle and we have the bunker and we have the trees. And what we're going to concentrate on this clip is building this Zeta class transporter. Well, it's Zeta class shuttle, I believe is what it's called. And it doesn't do anything, but it's there to give you that you're on the map. You're in the actual Scarif and we're on here. And I have another clip that's also going to be released very shortly, and that is going to be dealing with the tram, the actual rail system between that and the Citadel. And in the centre there, we're going to have the Citadel, and this lift moves across between the two. But I will show you that more in the next clip. Like I said, what we're concentrating on this one is just basically building this ship. Okay, so that's what we're going to look at doing, and it's just to give you the feel of this is where we are. We've landed our shuttle. We need to get out now without being spotted, and we have to do our action. And this is while still going with the shield gate. Okay, and one thing that's taken me a little while here. I've been testing certain things out, and I want to make sure I can still do this with the shield gate still working. As you can see there's the shield gate just above, and this has worked out just lovely. Look at the shield gate. It's just slightly, you can't work it out, but you know it's up in the atmosphere. I think it gives quite a cool effect. So there the Star Destroyer's parked up, and directly above us is the shuttle. And the plan I'm going to do is that when we die, we're going to switch between land and space battles. So it's going to shoot between the two. So we'll always start inside this ship, and then we'll die and jump back up to the Rebel Cruiser. So I'm going to flip it between those, and I'll obviously have a clip between those two settings. Now there is also a PDF document for this shuttle to show you how to build it up layers. But we're going to basically go through the whole section of building this up, do the logic for the door ramps. But having that shuttle there just gives this whole hangar and bunker just the right feel for the game. I think it works quite well. I'm quite impressed the way it turned out. Now I'm just going to go into the one mode. So you'll see we've got our shuttle. You'll see right up at the very top as we zoom up is the Rebel Cruiser. So that's still there with all the logic and the flight plans going off. Yeah, so that's still happening. So that battle's still happening. But that is going to be our Scarif building. And we have the Citadel in the middle. And what I'm thinking of doing is that there are 4 objectives, or 3 objectives. We have to go to each of the different sections. So we have different battles. We have to bring something back to the centre of the Citadel to unlock the plans. So we're going to have these lift things scrolling back and forth. So what we're going to do is, starting off where we left off on the last clip, we're going to build it up. Now I did mention that we got a Star Destroyer clip and destroying it. But from your feedback, I am actually going to create a clip. And the clip of that thing is called when 2 Star Destroyers collide. So yes, we are going to have the 2 Star Destroyers crash and deactivate the gate, and that is coming. You're just going to have to give me an extra week or so just to work out the layout of the video. So let's just jump back down. Like I say, this clip is concentrating on this shuttle and just the basic setup for the level with all the ground stuff. Okay. But that's not too bad. I think it gives it quite a cool effect, and it just gives you that extra, part of the level. Just like with the Naughty Dog, they just do attention to detail, which makes the level that little bit better. You'll have a rusty car for no reason at all, and it's just those little things that make it good. So this ship just helps set the scene that you're in the film. You come running out the ramp like you do in the film, and we've got to hold this off. So I'm still actually playing around with the gameplay mechanics, like what is the objectives and can we actually survive this and not get killed like they did in the movie. Didn't want to ruin it for anyone who didn't realise that, but that's the plan. Right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go back to where we left off, which is where we just built the Rebel Cruiser and we've just done the Rebel attack run. Okay, so I'm going to load that level back up and then we'll start it from scratch and just build the basis of the Citadel. Okay. So here we are, back to where we've done. So you've created the ships and the X-Wing flying out. That was all been agreed, and we've got our 2 Star Destroyers up there which attack us. Now, directly below us, I told you at the very beginning to build the ground, and we built it up so many height up on purpose, and the height was important. Those 7 bricks were extremely important because we want to do the other items. You'll also notice I've tidied up all my logic and I've hidden them nicely and out of place now. I've tidied those all up. And I actually did change the logic, by the way, to do the one route. I didn't have to use 2 logic gates. I did get rid of that. Right, so what we're going to do here is I'm just going to find out the Jedi Temple. This is going to be part of the Citadel. It's not the whole thing. We're going to add a lot more to that, and that is going to come later in the clips that I release later in the month. Let me just find you the Jedi Temple, which you look under. What's it? Disney Infinity Guru. He tells you how to unlock this. You have to do so many challenges in the Republic one. Now I'm just setting this temple so it's bang in the middle, right? I want it bang perfect so the shield thing is directly above it. That's the plan. So we're going to pull that all the way down to the ground. Okay, you'll see there. And the reason for that is I need to adjust the ground so it's on the perfect height. Okay, so that was the reason why I've done that. So I know it's bang in the middle. So we've set that up, which makes life a little bit easier. Okay, so now, because we had that land behind it to set the place, you'll see the land is a certain thickness, and I wanted to either maybe have some water bricks in there. So again, I'm just going to pull that back a bit. Yeah, so I'm going to pull that back out the way, and that allows me to lower the land down. So just move that a little back, still keep it at the lowest point on the map. Yeah, and then I'm going to grab this and I'm going to settle this so it's bang in the center. So that at the moment the Jedi Temple is bang in the center, right directly underneath the temple. Right, so I'm just going to adjust this so it is superbly in the middle, which is good. And when I'm happy with that, I'm now going to lower that right down to the bottom. So we'll see there, come happy with there, drop this down. Now you can have any land you want underneath it depending on your mission, and you'll see our gauge at the moment on the graphics wise, we're about I don't know what's it, nearly 2/3. That's not too bad at the moment, so we've still got a lot of potential, I think. So I'm just going to lower that down, okay, and I'm going to set that in place. So that's now where we've got those items. So you'll see it's all lined up, that fits in the screen. We can now delete that. And the reason why I put those in when we did it is that I didn't know when you saved it, did it squash it back up again? I didn't want to have the option that we were left. That's why I left the land in. Yeah, I wanted to make sure there was that height, and I didn't know when you save this, does it then shrink the land back up and then make that the lowest point, because it realigns everything. So that's why I made sure that when you did the gate, you had that gap in there so it kept that distance on the save. Right, so that's now gone. I can now get rid of that landscape. Alright, let's delete that. Now, obviously, when we do the Citadel, there's certain things we're going to have to do. So we're actually going to have to go and collect the plans. Now, the plans themselves are going to be stored at the bottom of the Citadel, and then we have to climb up to the very top. Okay, so what we're going to do is just going to get rid of this landscape, and then we're just going to build a room where we have to do some sort of puzzle. And again, I actually haven't worked out what that puzzle is going to be yet. I have to say I'm feeling quite nervous because the map is coming quite nicely, and I'm just hoping I'm not going to push it over the edge with the level. Keep an eye out on the next clip that's going to follow very shortly. It may even be out the same day because that's got a lot crammed in there, but we'll show you what we're going to do here. So look, you'll see here I'm picking a landscape, I'm making sure the corner fits so it's directly in, and I'm just going to lower that straight down. Yeah. Same thing with the other side. I want the corners. Yeah, so we know exactly where the lines are. Perfect. And I'm going to do that for all 4 corners of that, directly above it. Now we can't go and build Citadel yet because we've got to put all the logic that we need to interact here, what switches or levels or how we're going to work with that. But as I say, the level is changing, and it's changing everything, the gameplay and working out the gameplay. But I have to say, when you see the next clip, it's coming along really well now, so I'm quite pleased the way this is going. So again, just line them all up, quite easy. I think you all got the gist of this. And that should line up perfectly. Cool. Now in some of my clips and in my editing, you'll notice that we speed through some things. So sometimes you'll see here I've given you all the time, and it's planning it out. And then when I play it back and join all the clips together, I realise I've missed an important part out. So I have to sometimes kept the scene so he doesn't realise that I've missed that entire section out. Right, so now I know where that's going to go. That itself will go down and sit on top of it, but we're going to delete it out for the meantime. Okay. Right, so that's our main area. What we're going to have is we're going to have 4 sections parted from there. Now what I want to make sure is that our starting level is actually directly below the shuttle. Yeah, that is important. I don't want it the other side. I want it to keep it directly underneath. Right, so we're going to use this terrain tool here, by the way. I'm going to place it bang in the center. Now I'm just trying to line this up to make sure I've got it exactly, because I want the rail system to expand out from the center here, and the center dial be in the middle. So you'll just see, I'm just double checking. Now there's 8 squares going across. After I work that out, you'll see I was quite slow with this. So I've got me 8 squares. I want to pick the middle square. Okay, so I'm making sure I've go between the 2, line that up. That now wants to be where I want my rail track, and this block here is going to act as the track where the transporter comes out, which we cover in the next clip. But I need this set up before I even place the ship into place. So you'll see I'm trying to line this up and just then double checking that is. Okay, click on it. I'm just checking that is lined up quite neatly on there, which it is. Perfect. Right, so that's good. So that all fits on the screen. So now I need to do the same the other side. So you'll see I'm putting these blocks around the edges, and again I want to make sure it's halfway through. So I know these little blocks, there's 8 each side, so I just have to get 4. And I'm going to delete these blocks out, by the way. These little, not the ones standing up, but the ones around the edge here, they're not needed. So we are just going to remove this off. And excuse me with the throat, I've got a slightly sore throat. So my voice levels does change throughout this clip, so apologies there. Right. So again, want it to be lined up, want to bang on. So I'm just going to put a couple of these bricks in, so you'll see, look, they fit on the side there, which is great. And we'll adjust these as well, but we're just making sure we're lining everything up accordingly. Fits into place, which is not too bad. So the rail system, like I say, goes out from the base, and we want to make sure it measures quite reasonably. So what I've said here, these blocks here, which is going to be the track, we want 20 of these. Yeah. Now I'm going to set it to the Guardian Galaxy terrain. You'll see me flick through here. So I'm now going to set the theme. Now be careful, we've got the shields thing, we can't do theme all. That will destroy all your good work upstairs. Be careful when you're doing this not to press that triangle button. And I'll keep stressing that so importantly throughout the rest of these clips. Okay, so that is now my track. Yeah, so I want 20 bricks from there, and I want them coming from the screen. So you'll see I'm just going to count out 20 bricks, and I'll just double check it. But it expands from the center, from the citadel, which that's going to become. Now that's going to happen in each 4 points. So it expands on the screen. Now if I had more memory, I'd do more waterfalls and stuff like that, but we're pushing it as it is, so we're quite happy on here. So we'll put that little track system. But 20 of those squares coming out gives you a reasonable bit of distance. Okay. So there's our 20 coming from here, and I want to do now another 20 at all 4 points. Yeah. So you'll see I'm just counting there. That I've got my 20. And it is vital that we keep the distance the same, and it looks all symmetrical throughout the base. There's my 20 boxes. Okay. And I want to do the same now, the other 4 points. So picking the halfway section again, making sure it's lined up with the ground. So line that back down in the middle, perfect. So I have to do 4, make sure it touches the wall, perfect again. That's good. And I want 20 going that side, and so on. And do the same with the other side. And that's what those boxes are. So that's good, that's touching the side. And then when we come back to the citadel, we can then branch off on the rail system, and we could go to different areas and have slightly different puzzles to solve. Right, okay, we'll just speed up time a bit now. Right, so at the end of the track, I'm going to create this terrain tool, picking a large one there, and I made sure it's the screen. Now I'm picking this particular box. Now for some reason I'm trying to fit it in, but this fits perfectly in. But I should have used the side panel here. Well, I don't know why I was trying to be flashy and do it at this particular point, but this fits perfectly around the edge. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm just overlapping it from the middle, but I should have done this side segment first. Now, due to the Dora playset, there's a coral, like a sandy beach one you unlock. Now you can use a Tatooine. There's no real difference between the two. I just use this particular one. It looks slightly more sand than it does look desert. Okay, so I've set that as my theme now, and then I just draw these 4 boxes going around. Now for some reason that's the piece I should have done first. Put it aside, and it guarantees it moves all the way across. So this is at the end of each of the 20 each of the 20 square blocks, we have this then like landing pad going round. There you go. So that now picks at the end of the track. So we just look back at the map now. You'll see now we have this little section all the way going around from the base, and then I do the same for the other 4 points. So now I do exactly the same. So we have this type of star shape appearance, but that's now our area where we're going to land our shuttle. So then, hey presto, that's where we get. So we've got those all set up exactly the same, traveling out from the center of the ship. So again, making sure that we're underneath the rebel cruiser. Yeah, keep everything onto the one side. So whichever side you put your rebel cruiser, put up this side. I am now going to build that shuttle, and I did check out to make sure I got the terminology right, because it says class as a Zeta class shuttle. We're going to do some blocks now. Again, basic shapes. We're going to have to color it as you go across. So we're going to do the landing gear first, and like I mentioned, there's a PDF link on this YouTube page that allows you to download the step-by-step documents for this particular ship. So what we're going to just do here is put a little shape in, and before I do that I'm going to change the colour, and I think I'll choose that to metal. I get lost so many times with these colours. There we go. Was it crate? I used the crate one. This is for the landing gear. Right, so moving this around. So I've set the theme. Moving this back, there you go. So we're creating this place here. Now before I do the other one, this is the first section. Yeah, and then we're going to then build the blocks through. So I say look through the PDF, and it'll show you these particular parts. Now the only difference with this between the PDF, we're going to show you then how to do the door to open a slide, so it opens and expands the shuttle ramp. Okay, so we've got that on there. We've got our setup. So what we're going to do now is go and choose some blocks. Right now, so what this is going to be is because I've got these as like the ramp folds back up, so I'm holding it up down at an angle. So I've put this on the screen. Now I'm just going to change this to a particular colour. Now the colours to your shuttle is up to you. Now I didn't make that. I am aware that in the film the shuttle is black. Yeah, but the problem there is I didn't want the shuttle to disappear in colours. If it's all black, it can look very just dull and flat. So I picked different colours, and the reason for that was so the shuttle would stand out. And that's the only reason. If it was all black, I think it looked just a bit too monotone. So I wanted to do different types of colours. So I try to use the orange bottom, but you'll see here I use some browns and blacks. But I am aware that the shuttle is actually black throughout. But it was trying to give you that impression. That's why I picked that colour. So I've set that now as the theme, but not theme all. Yeah, and now I can put in the base of that in. Okay. So as you'll see, I'm putting the blocks in. And again, like with the Rebel Cruiser, I played around looking at the shapes, and once I built the shuttle, I then basically saved it, and then deleted things back by bit. And as I deleted it, I just did screen prints of what I was done. Was able to produce the document, so I actually created it backwards. and then reorder the document to do it. So if you ever build anything and you want to know how you did it and you want to build it again, what you can do is have your object and then just every time you delete a few objects, do a screen print, and you can use it as a reference guide. So then you can say, right, now I've got that, I can put that into some other object. Because there's a lot of things here we're adding. So you'll see here we got, this is the other landing gear section. Yeah. So this is the whole length of the ship. And you would have thought I know where these pieces are by now, but I still get lost where they're trying to find them. Right, so that's not too bad. So we've got the ship in there. So that's going to be the frame of the base of the frame. And then we can change different colours of that section as well. But I think we're going to go for the next part on here. So I'm grabbing the ship. Right. Now, that would be cool if you could make these bricks all fly together, but you'll see here when we do the in the next clip that we do the rail system. You'll show you how you can get objects to fly along a path, but you have to plot them all. So if anyone wanted to be daring enough and plot the whole thing on an actual path and have the shuttle fly, you can do it, but it'll take a lot of effort to do. So they don't seem to ever take that long. So a lot of people get put off by building these things. It doesn't actually take that long. And one of the reasons why, and I know other people mentioned it, the reason why I like doing Disney Infinity, just switches yourself off, allows you to relax, just build, try and put something together, and it is still a fantastic game. Yeah, and I'm just saying, what other game allows me to build my Rogue One level? There absolutely isn't anything like that at the moment. And also, keep your eye out for Dreams when that comes out. I am worried that Dreams is going to be too big, and therefore, as you have to build everything, it'll put you off actually creating it because there's too many factors you have to do. So I'm intrigued to see how that goes, and have I got what it takes to build everything from scratch. But we'll see how that goes. Right, now in here, I'm just changing the bottom because on the transporter, the cargo section is actually orange, and I've gone up and down here like a yo-yo trying to pick which colour it was. Yeah, and I believe it's this colour, the gold one I use. That's the one I use. I'm sure it is. I'll come back to it in a moment, but I couldn't find it. I get lost all the time with these colours. So it wasn't that one. I'm sure it's not that. See, that was too dull. I wanted it more of a brighter colour. Was it gold gloss? I think was what I used. Again, took me ages to try and work it out. And it was more of a shiny orange, which was quite good. Not actually gold, a lot more of an orange colour for me, so I prefer to use that one. And I just do that for those 4 objects. Okay, right, so I've done that part with the orange. Now we're going to do the interior bit, which is the runway where the user comes out. Now my voice is getting more and more croakier, so apologies for that. Right, so what we're going to do is get some blocks. I'm going to place this down, and I want roughly this. And you'll see here it goes on just on the ramp halfway through. Yeah. Now I had left a gap at the bottom of this ship so you could sneak out the back. But I do seal that up in this game, but I'll again show that through. And I'm going to use the grate tool here. So we go across. There we go, there's the grate colour. Now, this clip, I'm playing back while I'm watching this and through. I'm taking my time with this clip, showing you how to build it and setting it up. So it might seem a bit slower than normal, so apologies for that. But I say grab the plans, you don't have to watch the full clip. It's just to show you what we've done, how we built it, so you can see how I put it together. the bit that you are interested in, obviously the logic with the ramp, that's where we're going to show you on that particular section, and I will put a note in the header just to tell you how to jump straight to that part. So here you know we're picking the ramp sections in. Okay, so lining these up, so that's there, that's the part of the bay, and obviously we want them to open and close and look quite good. Now I don't actually show you this in the clip, I didn't realise until I was playing this back, they don't actually show you what the ramp looks like on the other side, and from the outside it looks quite, it makes the ship look all whole, it doesn't look stupid, so it's quite good on this part. But all these 4 segments have to raise up and close. Yeah, so that's all set up. So that there is our ramp. So before I did this, what I wanted to focus on was, right, okay, now I've got the ship, I need to know how far to bring the ramps up, so I had to bring the head of the spaceship in next. So I come along here, and what I'm going to do now is try and pick up the head section. Now in here, we've got the tunnel, so I wanted to make sure the tunnel's big enough. So you see here, I've just lifted it 1 block up ahead, just so I know as we go down, and then that area I can pull this bit down, which then like seals it, a bit like my blast door clip, which I did years ago now. So there you go, that's my little section on the screen. Now, if you find this clip too slow, I apologise. Obviously, I want to try and keep the pace of the clip so you can follow it step by step and build the ship. The next one, there's so much I've got to show you in the next clip. It does go at quite a fast pace, and that's dealing with the tram system, the way the troops run out. But there's all pretty much, the reason why I go more quickly on the other one is that you've built all the other elements before, but we're just doing a slightly different scenario, and I'll explain that again when I do that, when I release that clip. But in here now, what we see is I'm looking for different types of colours. And I wanted this more of a solid colour, so I wanted to make sure that you didn't blend in together. That was just a highlight that it wasn't the ramp. Right, so with these blocks here now, and I need to change the colour of this, which choose the rock theme. So I used the still colour. I was having a look at that still colour. I thought that was too light. Could have used that. So I used this rock colour, which is quite good, I believe. Where's the rock colour? Which is like a brown colour. It's like a dirty black. In fact, it's nothing like black at all, is it? But anyway, I've explained why I wanted different colours on the screen. So I'm just going to move that across. That's our cockpit area now. So okay, so build this up. So we're just now getting the ship, so you can see how your ship is built in the same way. And you don't have to do the ramp system, by the way. One thing I've done here is I wanted the whole effect that you press the button, and the button was allowing us to change the landscape. Because obviously when we're up in the space, I'd like all the space theme. But when you come back into, when you die and you start from within this ship, the reason I wanted the ramp to be closed is that when you press the button to open the ramp, it gives you 3 or 4 seconds for the terrain to change, so now it looks like you're down on the planet's surface. So that was the reason why I want the ramp to come up and down, and that was to guarantee that while you waited the doors to open, it gave the system enough time to change the screen, and that would give you the impression that you're on the planet's surface. So I want it changed between the two. Now a lot of you suggested that you could have just done the map and load up between the two, but there's going to be a lot of loading, and I want the flow of the game to be fast. I want you die, bang, you're on the ground. You carry on a bit further, if you die, you bang up into space, and I want to keep that going. And also the space theme, as you see up in the air, just sets the theme. It just gives you the impression you are doing this battle. So we're going to try and keep our battles to a small amount as well, and we'll point that out to you. So we've not got too many. So I've only used 2 Star Destroyers, therefore I've only got 4 TIE Fighters between the two. Okay, that's not too bad. Dark glass section. Right, so what we're going to concentrate now is the ramp section. How do we get the ramps to come up and down? Yeah, so I'll just build in the slight frame, just the last framework going around the edges. So you'll see this is quite quick. Okay. Now I tried this obviously a couple of times, so the slight difference here is when I was trying this, the logic, when you assign logic to a path, it remembers it once you've actually attached it. So what happens here is it doesn't go exactly, so when you do it you won't get the exact same image that you've seen here, because I already tested it out and I got it wrong several times, so I've had to edit the clip to show you how it works properly. But what we're going to look at doing is the ramp part, okay, and I'm just going to put these in at the end here. I keep talking about doing the ramp but not doing anything yet. Okay, because when you're finished with the ship and then we're inside, we're going to use the little 4 bricks. There's a little 4-section group that we have. Not this one, it's too big, this one. And it's like a little roof, and that gives you a curved roof in there, so it gives you extra more space. And they're going to fit like that over the top of it. But we'll leave this open in the meantime, because we're going to do the door part. The door element of it, which is not too bad. And if you do your own like Millennium Falcon or anything like that, you can have a ramp appear on this side. Okay, so what we're going to do is a straightforward system door, yeah? So we're going to create a button, okay, and that button's going to link to 2 logic gates. Now, my next clip is going to stress this, and you should be able to do these by now. If you've been following my clips, you should be able to work this out. We need 1 logic gate that's going to stop it each time when it reaches certain points, yeah? Okay, so we need a logic gate. Now I need 2 of these because we've actually got 2 parts, the top and the bottom are going to close. And we need another logic gate, which is the one that starts it all. Yeah, that triggers it off and goes between the 2 of these sections. Okay, and then we go to a path tool here. Right, there's the great path tool. Right, I'm going to create the path tool here. Now that I'm looking at the section, so you see just at the base here, I'm pointing in between the 2 and where they join on the end. So not there, but on that. That's it, on that section there. Whoops, where is it? Cool. So I click once, and my first glance I've moved it too high. You don't have to go that high, you only have to go, so I thought you had to go that high up, and it's not that high up. You only go to the top of the actual ramp. So bring it back down, it's just on where the slope is. So if you look there on the screen, just come down a little bit lower, and it's there on the point where you want the dot to be. Just stop there, so click on to add that, and then circle out. That's it, that's about bang on. Now the other path you need is for the top part to come down. So those 2 triangles there is going to slide down on the system. So again, what you'll see is I'm just making myself at the base, and then I'm just moving it across, and I'm just lining this up because that's where we're going to get the middle. So I want the middle section. So I'm going to click X there, and as I bring it down, as you pull the item down, look back up, and you've got those 4 squares. So you'll see you see I'm bringing it across. Right, and it's actually in line with the 4 squares. So you see come up, see the 4 squares there like a little target? That's where you want to come, and you want to come down, which is in line with the other path tool. Looks a little bit odd, but that's where you want that on the screen, and circle out that. So there are our 2 paths, which are going to go back and forth between the 2. Yeah. So what we can do here is we can go to this option, and we just go to our properties, and we can switch the thing off. Right, that's the first thing. Switch the whole item off on the screen so it's turned off, and do the same with the other one. Turn that one off as well. So properties. That stops the thing from sliding up and down like a yo-yo, because you want them all together at the same time. So they're all now switched off on the screen. Okay, so then we do our logic from here. So we want to do when these points reach it, we want to turn the thing item off, but we keep one for one path and one for the other. So down at the bottom. So new logic connection, when point reached on path, can we input a signal into logic gate? And the reason why I kept the 2 and didn't use the same gate is that if one got there before the other one, I didn't want it to stop. I want them all to complete their path, so I kept them separately. So when point reaches on path, so new logic connection, when point reaches on path, which is on there, we're now going to go back and input into that logic gate. So both input into there, and it's just like those doors I've done with my Echo base level. And the logic on the screen is just a doorway, but these are just bricks going up and down. So then we do new logic connection on output. Yeah, can we turn the flipping path off, which means it stops. Yeah, turn that on. That will now stop the box. And I need to do the same thing with here. So new logic connection on output. Can we turn off the top? Okay, and then the same thing, new logic connection when point reached on path. Now, when I attach the bricks to the path, they are not going to jump normal areas they would do for you, and that's because I already tested this, and those bricks already remember the previous settings. So I'll point that out to you when I did it, because it did throw me a bit when I deleted all the logic, got it correct, and when I did the video, the pieces remembered what their setting was. Right, so on here, on this button, when I press this button, yeah, input into this section here, so new logic action, input, and on the output of that logic gate, we set it up. Now, also be aware that why don't I just link the button to the path? Because we're going to get it to do other things. So when I fire that into logic gate, not only will it open the door, it's going to change the theme, it's going to do other things as well. So that's why I always put a logic gate in between. It allows me to divert it into a different angle, which I quite like. Yeah, it makes life a little bit easier. So on output, can we switch all these on? So switch them on to that one now, make the things slide up and down. So what we need to do now is connect those paths. So they'll link those all up, but we're going to connect the objects now to those relevant paths. So when I go into here and I do square, new path tool, that shape, when I connect it, should jump to the middle of that path. And when I connect it, it doesn't. Right, connect the path, and it doesn't move. You see, it didn't move at all. That's because it remembers the history from my previous clip. And I panicked for a second there. So you'll see here, I'm doing new logic connection, connect to path, yeah, and now drops it in. Now that will appear in the middle. So what I'm going to just show you was what you would get it to, what happens to you. So we go to the properties, toy box path. When you get it, you see, that's all set up, but you'll see here it's remembered that it's -4. So when you get it, I'll just take that back, yours will actually appear the other way. Yours will appear like that in the middle, and then you'd have to move it on the path tool. So look out for that, and that's the important thing here. You must change the path of each shape to back and forth. Yeah, so again, appears in the middle, you move it back to one side and change the path to back and forth. That is crucial, the back and forth route to it. And I need to do that on all the shapes. So come out of there. So I did that on both two shapes. I attached the two paths and I changed both those paths to back and forth. So here you'll see here I'm connected to path, nothing happens, yeah, because it remembers my setting. So we just go into here, what you would have had it in, we go to properties, and then we go to toy box path. You'll see here that it has moved across. So we'll scroll down on here, you'll see that I've moved it -4, yeah, and I moved it the position, so you'll see all that, and I've changed that item on the screen. So look at those settings that I've done, yeah, so you got 2 and then 4, that positions it in the exact same position as before. So you will have to move those, otherwise they appear bang in the middle of where the path is. I hope that makes sense. So when you connect to the path, it would jump into the middle. You then have to go to the properties here and move these settings. So I've gone to each setting just to show you. So that is -4 on the horizontal, and then I have to bring the offset slightly forward and bring that across down the screen. And again, change the path to back and forth. Back and forth is essential, otherwise it won't work. If you don't do the back and forth and you test it out, you'll find they're out of shape. So what you'll have to do is you'll have to create another button on the path and just do reset and play, and that brings them all back to their original starting point. And the rest of the ship is quite easy to build after that. But like I say, this just adds to the theme of the story, and it just gives you that impression you are on the hangar and you are in the bunker and you're doing your little battle. And you can use this in other areas, and the shuttle can be used in other places. You can have multiple number of shuttles, so you're in a big Imperial base, or you can put this shuttle inside your Death Star. Let me know what you think of the shuttle. Is it any good? Do you think it's close to what the object looked like? So sometimes when you put bricks in, it just looks like you put a load of bricks in, but it does, when you're running around, it does set to the theme. It does feel like there's a shuttle there. It's not just a load of bricks, which I quite like. Okay, right. So that's now set up. So we've now got the doors that will open and close, and that button is what does it. So what I can do is I can now move that button and put that inside the spaceship. Now you'll see here I tried different characters. So there you go, that closes down. Oh, I did actually show you from the outside. Yeah, look, I didn't think I showed you this. So that's how it's going to look when it finishes. The ramp's all closed, which doesn't actually look too bad. Because you could do it in one of your levels, do it the opposite way around. You have to get into the space shuttle, so you have to unlock it, press the button, and when you go up into there, the level's complete. So you've got to retreat back, so you could do things like that. So I'm just going to move this button now. And by the way, I was just trying the Tron guy Flynn out because I thought he looked like the Imperial trooper. You know when Jed Erso goes into ships, he's wearing a black uniform. I was wondering if I could get away with him looking like the Black Guard. It's a shame though we don't have any shore troopers, because I have to say that shore trooper has probably come to be one of my best stormtroopers. I think he's right cool. Alright, so I put that button in there, and obviously I'll hide these logical gates out of the way when we finish. I'll move those out of the way and then hide them underneath the map. Yeah. So now we run in. I have to say Finn, as a character wise, is probably one of my best Infinity characters. So there you go, there's the ramp. That all opens up, which is cool. So not too bad. Now for the easy bit, now we just fill the ship in. Right, let's go and put the bricks in. Let's go and go back to our basic shapes. Now obviously I've saved this as I go across, because the more bricks and more stuff we're going to do, your level is going to struggle, yeah, and when it does struggle, occasionally it will crash. So please make sure that you're saving as you go through your level, but every time you save or you close it down and come back to it, you lose all your previous settings, so you have to go in and we have to change the colours of these. So again, I'm going to change these back to rock, but you could have used any other colour you wanted. So I'll just change the colours for these two sets. And move them across. You could have them different colours, it doesn't matter, so you can pick them on a different side. Now what I'm doing here is, I've chosen rock again, and then wanted to set the theme for the other bricks. So I go into here and say, right, let's set the theme. But when I do set theme, I actually change the colour as well, so it goes back to this particular colour here on the screen, which I didn't want. But I now want, because the wings are going to be in the dark black colour. So I've just done that by accident, so I've just changed that colour back to the rock colour. Right, again, don't press that triangle, because you just might as well bin everything if you have. Now we can fill in those little arches, because you think, I didn't want those arches to appear, but now we're going to build the wings. Right, now the wings on this ship are actually all the same length, yeah. So the only problem I had with that is that when I built this ship, it did look odd having these rectangular wings, because they do taper off on a couple of them. So I actually made the back wings smaller, so just in case you say, hold on, that's wrong with the class ship. The reason why I did that was it does actually work quite well, and then they does give you the impression that they are wings. But if I actually kept it true to what the ship is, they would be both the same length, and it needed one to look slightly odd, and that gives you the impression they taper. So you'll see here, I'm just flying through putting all these supports in. Yeah, but I actually found out that the back, one of them had to taper slightly, just try to give you that curved edge. That was the overall effect I was going for. So if I now get the big fat wing, where's the fat wing on there? So we're almost done. Now as you build it, it looks odd until you put the wings on. The wings actually is the final piece, and that to me actually makes it now. So in here you've got to make sure you fit them flat, so you have to twist it round to make sure you fit it in the right position. So you'll see it trying to line it up. It doesn't fit in, so you have to twist it round and you'll see it go on the outside. There you go. Now I need 3 of those, so I can base those straight up for the first wing. Okay, so that won't look too bad. But like I say, they both are theoretically 3 sides, and it just looked odd, the back wing, so I slightly changed it, which then gives the impression that it is like a tail fin. So on this side there's 2. and then we finish the last one with square bricks. And we do 3 along the bottom and then 2 up, and then that theoretically is our ship done. Right, so I hope you like this. Hope you found it easy to follow. Get ready for the next one, by the way, because you're going to have to keep up. There's a lot crammed in the next clip, and we show you how to do the train tool as well. So if you feel a bit niffed I didn't show you that, I will briefly show you that in the next clip. Right, I'll try and get that to you as soon as possible. Thanks for watching, and I hope you like it. Cheers, guys. See you later.